Welcome or welcome back to Kemba's World. In today's video, I have for all of you today, it is a health update because I have discussed my health on my Twitch stream previously over like the past couple of months, but I'm gonna just do one big health update so that way when I talk about my health, I could just read and whatnot. So that way it can be one big concise place. So without further ado, let's get in with today's video. So with for those of you who do not know or not unaware and have been keeping update with me or my streams, which is like perfectly fine. But for those of you who are very unaware, I have been diagnosed with PCOS, which got renamed into PMOS. And I also got diagnosed with iron deficiency, and also at on one an appointment, I also got asked about my blood pressure. And so, without further ado, we're just gonna go into like the story time of like how I found out what gave me the suspicion of my PCOS and all that type of stuff. So back in 2018, for I was at a family reunion on my dad's side. My nephew um spotted some some small patch of chin hairs on my on the left side of my chin, and he asked me about it, and I was like it ain't nothing, and I brushed it off, and because I really thought it was because I was like it's just I can they were like easily pluckable and so I was like, let me just pluck these bitches out and go about the rest of my weekend. I go about like the rest of the family weekend. Didn't think nothing of it. Fast forward to 2021 and whatnot, and I noticed like my facial hair is going from that small patch of my chin that my nephew found back on 2018 to like the lower side of my chin, the left side of my chin. I didn't think nothing of it. I was like, okay, I'm gonna just shave my face, keep it pushing, type shit, and whatnot. And mind you, I'm still going to I had just had my physicals and all that type of nature. So I was keeping a shave face for the past couple of years, and then I just started neglecting it, and when I started neglecting it, that's when it went all the way up to my upper sideburn on my left side, and then it started going on my lower side. I want to say my sideburn on my right. So I was like, okay, I need to because I was talking to my mom about it and whatnot, and my mom was like, you should bring it up with your doctor, and I was like, you know what, okay, I'm gonna bring it up with my fucking doctor. So back in earlier of this year, February 11th, I go to my doctor, get my regular old physical done up, and she was like, do you have any concerns? I bring up the concern of having PCOS. I was like, I'm not trying to self-diagnose myself of with PCOS, but your girl thinks she might have it because the facial hair. And then she started asking me some questions about relating to my cycle, and she was like, well, from what you're telling me about it, it doesn't seem like you don't likely probably don't have it, but just to rule it out, I'm going to request you to do some blood work so that way we can see where your testosterone levels are at. And she said oh well, if I give you a call on the phone, then it is alarming, but if I don't, then we can meet up on early March, and we can discuss everything. And I was like, okay. So I go do the blood work. The rest of February goes by. I do not hear from my doctor about the my blood work results. So um so I was like, okay, so I legitimately early March rolls around. I go to the follow up appointment for my blood work, and my doctor tells me like, oh, your blood work has come back. Everything is like relatively normal. What with the exception of your testosterone and your iron. Your iron is is getting low, and you're creating more testosterone than you should be for a woman of your age. And I was like, oh, and I was like, oh, okay. So she was like, we are going to get you started on some metformin and some springatonin for your and whatnot. And I was like, okay, cool. So she was like, the metformin is for PCOS and diabetes and whatnot. And I was like, okay, cool. And I was like, okay, cool. The springatonin is also for your PCOS. It's gonna help you like get like your testosterone down and like a whole bunch of like other like medical stuff and whatnot. Just mind you, I'm like recapping like the conversation. I'm not like trying to say like, oh, I'm not trying to say like my doctor was wrong. I'm just like basically like recapping like the whole entire conversation, because it does get like pretty personal details, and I'm not trying like dox myself and whatnot. But she gets me started on like the medication. With the metformin and the springatonin, I'm supposed to take that every day. I'm supposed to take my metformin at dinner time, since I don't be eating breakfast all that much. She has me taking it at dinner time. My springatonin, she has me taking that first thing in the morning, like with some water, and then my iron pill, I'm taking that every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday and whatnot. So um, so after that, I get on my medication. I get my medication. March flies. I'm starting to take my medication. March flies by like pretty mundane. April flies by mundane as well, and then it hits May, as we are currently in, and and it is like the day before my birthday. Because if you guys do not know, my birthday is May 7th. I was about to say May 6th. My birthday is May 7th, so I shaving my face down on May 6th, and I was like, okay, my face is gonna be clean for like that weekend of my birthday weekend, and then my facial hair is gonna come back, full force by that Wednesday and whatnot. But like my facial hair has not come back in full force. It started coming back in, but it wasn't like growing in like real thick and whatnot. So after that, I legitimately was like, okay, I'm a that Wednesday, the Wednesday after my birthday, I was came around. um, it's like what you guys are like currently like seeing right now with like my face, like and whatnot. So I legitimately did all of that. So I was like, okay. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it another week and whatnot. Cause like sometimes it comes in real thick like the week after, and then other times it's like the week after. Then it's like 2 weeks later. So I was like, I'm gonna give it another week and whatnot, and then I'm gonna shave my face down, to keep it like cute and whatnot. So 2 weeks passed by. My birthday's already like passed by this point, and mm, and my facial hair is still like this, like what you guys are currently like right now. And I'm like, huh? And I'm like, I bring it up to my mom, and I'm like, mommy, I think my medication is working, because like my facial hair is not like growing back in real thick. It's usually back in like real thick right now. And she was like, okay, that's good. Like we still need to get you like the spearmint tea, so that way we can like eliminate the facial hair altogether. And I was like, yeah, 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 and whatnot. So and then like the 26th of May rolls around. It's like the follow-up appointment of my piece of me talking to my doctor about like my medication. and whatnot. I go in, I talk to my doctor. I tell her that my facial hair has not is like coming back in, but it's coming back in. It's not coming back in like real thick. Um and like it's like not. It's like very tameable and whatnot. And she was like, "Okay, that sounds like nice and wonderful. We can bump your serotonin to see if it will give you an extra kick and like a boost to to get the results that you are looking for." And I was like, "Yeah, let's do that." And but she's like, and again she was like, "Oh well, if you do that, we're gonna need to get more blood work from you because this is like a fucking this is like a he was like, "This is we're gonna need to get more blood work for you because we just need to check to make sure that your potassium levels are going to stay the same." And I was like, fine, whatever, it is what it is. So I legitimately go about the rest of my day. So after that, so at and I literally go about the rest of my appointment. And I also tell her that my iron medication is also working because prior to me being put on this iron medication, I was like, if I was not doing any of my hobbies, which was reading, gaming, creating content of any shape or way or form, your girl was knocked out the fuck asleep. I'm being so fucking for real and honest with you guys. I was knocked the fuck out. I was knocked the fuck out. Like, I was just knocked the fuck out. Like, no questions asked. I was like basically turning into a fucking goddamn house cat and just sleeping like the whole entire day away and whatnot. But as I would say like a week or two after on my appointment, I was like on my not on my appointment, on my medication. I was staying up more. I'm like more energized throughout the day and shit like that. So, and I told my doctor that again at the same exact appointment of me talking about my PCOS meds, and I was like, okay, and whatnot. And then we end the appointment about me talking about my blood pressure because she was like, I noticed like your blood pressure from your past couple visits with us, so I want you to start taking your blood pressure at home so that way you we can see what is going on with your blood pressure because again I do get the tendency of having high blood pressure. Like, doctors be freaking out about it and I'll be like, but I feel perfectly fine and all nice and dandy. Like, I could take I can go on a 5 mile jog and be perfectly fine. And my doctors are like, your blood pressure is a little bit at normal, baby girl. And I'm like, yeah, I'm used to it. Mama side, type shit. But yeah, that's the whole entire ordeal of my health update. So basically a summary for those of you who and when basically a summary my nephew asked about my the couple chin hairs on my chin. Think nothing of it. Fast forward to 2021. It's slowly growing, but it's not growing at the same time. And then once I stop stop shaving my face altogether, everything is just going back in full force. I finally bring it up with my doctor. I get diagnosed with PCOS at 26. I get put on medication. The medication is working. I'm starting to try to eat more red meat and more greens and shit like that in my thing and all things aside. So yeah, but with that being said, thank you guys for listening to today's video. Make sure to give it a like and comment so that way we can get closer and closer to hitting YouTube partner one day. With that being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day / night wherever you may be in the world, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.